10. The Ancient Ram Inn, England's most haunted house. Located in Gloucestershire, England, the Ancient Ram Inn is one of the country's most haunted buildings. Built in the 12th century, this former inn has a long and dark history that includes pagan rituals, child sacrifices, and a series of violent deaths. The Ancient Ram Inn was constructed on land that was once a pagan burial ground, and its foundations are said to intersect with ley lines, which some believe channel supernatural energy. The inn has seen countless deaths and tragedies over the centuries, contributing to its haunted reputation. One of the most haunted areas in the inn is the witch's room. It is believed that a woman accused of witchcraft sought refuge in this room before being captured and burned at the stake. Her tormented spirit is said to linger, and visitors report seeing her apparition and feeling an intense sense of dread. Another notoriously haunted room is the bishop's room, which is said to be the most active area in the inn. Guests have reported seeing ghostly monks, knights, and even a succubus in this room. The atmosphere is often described as oppressive, with visitors experiencing sudden cold chills and the feeling of being watched. During renovations, the remains of children, along with broken daggers, were found buried beneath the floor. These findings suggest that child sacrifices were conducted in the building's early history. The spirits of these children are said to haunt the inn, their faint cries and footsteps heard echoing through the halls. John Humphreys, who purchased the inn in the 1960s, claimed to have numerous paranormal encounters. He reported being dragged out of bed by an invisible force, seeing apparitions, and hearing strange noises. Despite these terrifying experiences, Humphreys lived in the inn until his death, dedicating his life to preserving its history. The Ancient Ram Inn attracts ghost hunters and paranormal investigators from around the world. Many have captured compelling evidence of supernatural activity, including EVPs, photographs of apparitions, and unexplained physical phenomena. The inn's haunted reputation has been featured in numerous TV shows, documentaries, and books. Its dark history and paranormal activity continue to captivate and terrify, making it a must-visit location for those interested in the supernatural. The Ancient Ram Inn offers tours and paranormal events, inviting visitors to explore its haunted rooms and experience its ghostly residents. The inn's blend of history and horror creates a unique and chilling experience that leaves a lasting impression on all who visit. 9. The Amityville Horror, a real-life haunting. The Amityville Horror is one of the most famous hauntings in American history. In 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. murdered 6 members of his family in their home in Amityville, New York. The following year, the Lutz family moved into the house, only to flee 28 days later, claiming it was haunted by terrifying spirits. On November 13, 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. shot and killed his parents and 4 siblings as they slept. He later claimed that voices in the house urged him to commit the murders. The brutal crime shocked the quiet suburban community and left a dark stain on the house. In December 1975, George and Kathy Lutz purchased the house at a bargain price. They were aware of the murders but believed they could overcome the house's dark past. Soon after moving in, they began to experience strange and terrifying phenomena. The Lutz family reported a range of disturbing events. George often woke at 3:15 a.m., the time the DeFeo murders occurred. They experienced cold spots, foul odors, and swarms of flies. George claimed to see a demonic pig-like creature with glowing red eyes, and Kathy reported being physically attacked by unseen forces. The hauntings escalated to the point where the family feared for their lives. They fled the house after just 28 days, leaving all their belongings behind. The Lutz's story quickly gained media attention and became the basis for the book, The Amityville Horror, by Jay Anson, which was later adapted into several films. The validity of the Lutz's claims has been the subject of much debate. Skeptics argue that the events were fabricated or exaggerated. However, subsequent owners and visitors have reported strange occurrences, keeping the legend alive. The house has since changed owners multiple times, with many reporting no paranormal activity. Despite this, the legend of the Amityville Horror endures, fueled by books, movies, and documentaries. The Amityville Horror has become a staple in horror literature and cinema, capturing the public's imagination with its blend of true crime and the supernatural. The house remains a symbol of haunted houses, drawing interest from paranormal enthusiasts and horror fans alike. 8. The Stanley Hotel, inspiration for The Shining. Nestled in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, the Stanley Hotel is famous not only for its grand architecture and scenic views but also for its ghostly inhabitants. Opened in 1909 by freelance Oscar Stanley, this elegant hotel became the inspiration for Stephen King's The Shining after he and his wife stayed there. In the 1970s, Stephen King and his wife Tabitha stayed at the Stanley Hotel just as it was preparing to close for the winter. They were the only guests, and the isolation, coupled with the hotel's eerie ambience, inspired King to write his best-selling novel. During their stay, King had a nightmare about his young son being chased through the hotel's halls, which became a pivotal scene in The Shining. The Stanley Hotel is said to be home to numerous spirits. Freelance Oscar Stanley and his wife Flora are among the most frequently seen. Mr. Stanley's apparition has been spotted in the lobby and billiard room, while Mrs. Stanley's spirit is often heard playing the piano in the music room. This room is the most infamous in the hotel, largely due to King's experience. It is said to be haunted by the spirit of Elizabeth Wilson, a former housekeeper. Guests report their belongings being unpacked, lights turning on and off, and a ghostly figure hovering over the bed. The hotel's concert hall is another hotspot for paranormal activity. Visitors and staff have reported seeing the ghost of a former employee named Paul, who died of a heart attack while on duty. Paul is known for telling people to get out late at night. Lucy, a young girl who allegedly sought refuge in the hall, is also seen and heard singing. The Stanley Hotel capitalizes on its haunted reputation with ghost tours that explore its history and paranormal activity. The hotel also hosts paranormal investigations, inviting guests to use ghost hunting equipment to communicate with the spirits. The Stanley Hotel's connection to The Shining has cemented its place in popular culture. It attracts fans of the book and film, as well as paranormal enthusiasts eager to experience its ghostly phenomena. The hotel's blend of historical elegance and supernatural intrigue makes it a unique and compelling destination. 7. Whaley House, a San Diego haunt. The Whaley House in San Diego, California, is considered one of the most haunted houses in the United States. Built in 1857 by Thomas Whaley on the site of a former execution ground and gallows, the house has a long history of tragedy and paranormal activity. The land on which the Whaley House was built had seen numerous executions and violent deaths. Thomas Whaley himself witnessed the hanging of the notorious thief Yankee Jim Robinson on this site. Despite its dark past, Whaley chose to build his family home there, an act some believe doomed the house from the start. The Whaley family experienced many misfortunes. Thomas Whaley's young son died of scarlet fever in the house, and a daughter committed suicide after a scandalous marriage ended in heartbreak. These tragedies, coupled with the house's dark history, are believed to contribute to its haunting. The spirits of the Whaley family are said to haunt the house. Thomas Whaley is often seen pacing the halls, while his wife, Anna, is sometimes seen or heard weeping. The ghost of their daughter, Violet Whaley, who took her own life, is also said to linger in the house, her presence often accompanied by an overwhelming sense of sadness and despair. The most notorious ghost at the Whaley House is that of Yankee Jim Robinson, whose execution predated the construction of the home. Visitors report hearing heavy footsteps echoing through the hallways, attributed to Yankee Jim's lingering spirit. His tall, shadowy figure is often seen, adding a sinister presence to the already eerie atmosphere. The Whaley House is rife with reports of supernatural occurrences. Unexplained cold spots, strange smells, and the sounds of children's laughter are common. Many visitors have captured mysterious orbs and apparitions in photographs. Some have even claimed to feel a sudden pressure on their chest or shoulders, as if an unseen hand is pressing down on them. Part of the Whaley House served as San Diego's first commercial theater and a courtroom. This room, in particular, is known for its ghostly activity. Visitors have reported hearing the sound of a gavel striking, disembodied voices, and even witnessing spectral figures dressed in period clothing. The Whaley House offers day tours and evening ghost tours, where guides recount the chilling tales of the home's haunted history. These tours attract paranormal enthusiasts and those curious about the supernatural. Many leave with stories of their own, having experienced the house's haunting firsthand. The Whaley House's haunted reputation has made it a popular subject in books, documentaries, and television shows. Its blend of historical significance and ghostly legends continues to captivate the imaginations of those who visit, making it a staple in American paranormal lore. 6. Winchester Mystery House, a labyrinth of spirits. In San Jose, California, stands the enigmatic Winchester Mystery House, a sprawling mansion with a bizarre architectural design and a history steeped in tragedy and superstition. Built by Sarah Winchester, widow of the firearms magnate William Wirt Winchester, the house is believed to be haunted by the spirits of those killed by Winchester rifles. After the deaths of her husband and infant daughter, Sarah Winchester was consumed by grief. A spiritualist advised her that she was haunted by the spirits of those killed by Winchester rifles and that she must build a house to appease them. As long as construction continued, she would be protected from these vengeful spirits. For 38 years, from 1884 until her death in 1922, Sarah Winchester oversaw continuous construction on the mansion. The result is a labyrinthine structure with 160 rooms, 10,000 windows, 2,000 doors, and countless peculiarities, such as staircases that lead to nowhere, doors that open into walls, and secret passages. The chaotic design of the house is said to confuse and trap spirits. Visitors and staff often report seeing apparitions wandering the halls, hearing disembodied footsteps, and feeling sudden cold spots. The most frequently cited spirit is that of Sarah Winchester herself, often seen in her favorite rooms and the seance room where she purportedly communicated with spirits. Sarah Winchester conducted nightly seances to receive guidance from the spirits on the next phase of construction. This room, hidden deep within the mansion, has a secret entrance and exit, accessible only through a series of winding corridors and false doors. The atmosphere here is thick with an otherworldly presence, and many visitors have reported feeling a sudden, overwhelming sense of sadness. Another frequently reported ghost is that of a carpenter who worked on the house. He is often seen continuing his work, hammer in hand, oblivious to the passage of time. The sounds of sawing and hammering are also heard, as if the construction never ceased. The Winchester Mystery House offers guided tours that delve into its history and the ghostly legends that surround it. Nighttime flashlight tours add an extra layer of eeriness, allowing visitors to explore the mansion's dark corners and potentially encounter the supernatural. The story of Sarah Winchester and her mysterious mansion has inspired numerous books, movies, and TV shows. Its unique architecture and haunting legends continue to draw visitors from around the world, eager to unravel the secrets of this enigmatic house. 5. Eastern State Penitentiary, a Gothic fortress of isolation. Built in 1829, Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia was designed to reform rather than punish inmates through solitary confinement. However, the prison's harsh conditions and the suffering of its prisoners have left a lasting legacy of paranormal activity. Eastern State Penitentiary was a pioneering institution, implementing the Pennsylvania system of solitary confinement. Inmates were housed in small, single cells, designed to isolate them completely. The hope was that solitude would lead to penitence and reform, but the reality was often much darker. Inmates spent 23 hours a day in their cells, with only a small slot in the door for food and a tiny exercise yard for brief periods of solitary exercise. This extreme isolation led many prisoners to insanity, their minds breaking under the unrelenting silence and loneliness. The prison housed many infamous criminals, including Al Capone, who spent several months in a relatively luxurious cell. However, even Capone claimed to be haunted by the ghost of James Clark, one of the victims of the St. Valentine's Day massacre orchestrated by Capone's gang. Numerous reports of paranormal activity have emerged from Eastern State Penitentiary. Visitors and staff have reported hearing disembodied voices, eerie footsteps, and the sounds of cell doors slamming shut. Apparitions of former inmates and guards are frequently seen, often wandering the long, dimly lit corridors. One of the most active areas is Cell Block 12, where visitors have reported seeing shadowy figures darting across the hallway. The oppressive atmosphere and inexplicable noises make it one of the most unnerving places in the prison. The guard tower is another hotspot for paranormal activity. People have reported seeing the figure of a guard pacing back and forth, as if still on duty, and feeling an intense sense of being watched. Eastern State Penitentiary embraces its haunted reputation, offering ghost tours that explore the prison's dark history and paranormal activity. During Halloween, the prison transforms into a haunted attraction, drawing thousands of visitors eager to experience the eerie atmosphere and potential encounters with the supernatural. The chilling stories of Eastern State Penitentiary have been featured in various media, including TV shows like Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures. The prison's haunting architecture and ghostly legends continue to captivate and terrify, making it a significant site for those interested in the paranormal. 4. Villisca Axe Murder House, a small-town nightmare. The quaint town of Villisca, Iowa, holds one of the most chilling and unsolved murder mysteries in American history. In June 1912, the Moore family and two young guests were brutally murdered in their home, a crime that has since left an indelible mark of horror and speculation. On the morning of June 10, 1912, the bodies of Josiah Moore, his wife Sarah, their 4 children, and 2 visiting girls, Lena and Ina Stillinger, were found bludgeoned to death with an axe. The gruesome scene shocked the town. All 8 victims had severe head injuries, inflicted as they slept. The crime scene was rife with peculiar details. Mirrors in the house were covered with cloth, and all the windows were covered. The murderer had prepared a plate of uneaten food and left a bowl of bloody water. A key detail was the killer's apparent use of a lamp with its wick turned down low, casting a dim, eerie light throughout the house. The town quickly descended into a state of fear and suspicion. Multiple suspects were questioned, including a transient man, a state senator, and a traveling minister named Reverend George Kelly. Kelly, who had attended a Children's Day service at the Moore family's church the night before the murders, was tried twice for the crime. The first trial ended in a hung jury, and he was acquitted in the second. The horrific nature of the murders and the lack of resolution have led to numerous reports of paranormal activity at the Villisca Axe Murder House. Visitors and paranormal investigators report hearing children's voices, seeing shadowy figures, and feeling a pervasive sense of dread. Some have claimed to see a dark figure wielding an axe, while others have felt an unseen presence brushing against them. Paranormal teams often use spirit boxes, devices believed to allow communication with spirits through radio frequencies. In the Villisca house, these sessions have yielded chilling results, with voices allegedly answering questions about the murders and identifying themselves as the victims. One of the most active areas is the room where the Moore children and their friends were found. Toys are known to move on their own, and disembodied giggles can be heard. Some visitors have reported feeling a sudden drop in temperature and an overwhelming sense of sorrow. The Villisca Axe Murder House is open to the public, offering day tours and overnight stays. Many who have stayed overnight recount terrifying experiences, including hearing footsteps, whispers, and even feeling an unseen force pressing down on them while they slept. The house's reputation for paranormal activity has made it a popular destination for ghost hunters and thrill seekers alike. Despite the numerous investigations and the passage of over a century, the Villisca Axe murders remain unsolved. The house stands as a stark reminder of the brutal crime and the unknown forces that seem to linger, haunting the small Iowa town. 3. Myrtles Plantation, a Southern Gothic haunting. Nestled in the heart of Louisiana, Myrtles Plantation is one of America's most haunted homes. Built in 1796, this antebellum mansion has witnessed untold tragedy and horror, contributing to its reputation as a paranormal hotspot. Myrtles Plantation was established by General David Bradford, who fled to Louisiana after being involved in the Whiskey Rebellion. The plantation passed through various owners, each contributing to its complex history. The most infamous of these stories involves Clark Woodruff, a later owner, and his tragic family. One of the plantation's most enduring legends is that of Chloe, an enslaved woman who allegedly lived and died there. According to lore, Chloe was caught eavesdropping on her master, Clark Woodruff, and as punishment, had her ear cut off. In revenge, Chloe baked a poisonous cake that killed Woodruff's wife and 2 of their children. Chloe was subsequently hanged by fellow slaves and thrown into the Mississippi River. Her spirit is said to haunt the plantation, often seen wearing a green turban to hide her severed ear. The spirits of Sarah Woodruff and her children, who perished from the poison cake, are also said to linger at Myrtles. Visitors report hearing children's laughter and seeing the ghostly figures of young girls playing on the grounds. Sarah's apparition has been seen weeping and wandering the halls, still mourning the loss of her children. A mirror inside the plantation is believed to be haunted by the spirits of Sarah and her children. According to tradition, mirrors are covered after a death to prevent spirits from getting trapped. This mirror, however, was not covered, and now visitors claim to see handprints and faces within its glass, despite regular cleaning. Another notable ghost is that of William Winter, a later owner of the plantation. In 1871, Winter was shot on the front porch by an unknown assailant. Mortally wounded, he staggered inside and climbed the stairs, collapsing on the 17th step. His spirit is often heard reenacting his final moments, with heavy footsteps echoing through the mansion. Myrtles Plantation is rife with reports of paranormal activity. Visitors and staff have experienced everything from phantom voices and cold spots to apparitions and objects moving on their own. The plantation's eerie ambience is heightened by its ancient oaks draped in Spanish moss, creating a quintessentially Southern Gothic atmosphere. Myrtles Plantation offers ghost tours that delve into its haunted history. These tours take visitors through the haunted rooms and recount the chilling tales associated with each area. For those brave enough, the plantation also offers overnight stays in its haunted rooms, providing a chance to experience the supernatural firsthand. The plantation's haunting legends have been featured in numerous books, TV shows, and films, solidifying its status as one of America's most haunted locations. Its story is a blend of Southern history, tragedy, and the supernatural, captivating those who visit with its eerie allure. 2. The Queen Mary, a luxury liner's ghostly legacy. The RMS Queen Mary, once a Grand Ocean liner, now sits permanently docked in Long Beach, California. Launched in the 1930s, this ship boasted luxury, speed, and elegance. However, it also harbors a darker legacy filled with ghostly apparitions and eerie tales. The Queen Mary began its life as a transatlantic ocean liner, transporting passengers between Europe and the United States. During World War II, it was converted into a troopship, nicknamed the Grey Ghost due to its stealth and speed. The ship carried thousands of soldiers to and from the battlefields, and with this role came its share of tragedy and death. One of the ship's most haunted locations is the first-class swimming pool, which is now drained and closed to the public. Here, visitors and staff have reported seeing wet footprints appear out of nowhere, as well as the ghostly figure of a young girl named Jackie. Jackie's laughter is often heard echoing through the pool area, and she has been seen playing by the poolside, only to vanish when approached. Deep within the bowels of the ship lies the engine room, another hotspot for paranormal activity. During the ship's wartime service, a tragic accident claimed the life of a young crewman who was crushed by a watertight door. His spirit, known as Half-Hatch Harry, is said to still roam the engine room. Visitors report seeing a shadowy figure and hearing mysterious clanging noises, as if the machinery is still being worked on by ghostly hands. Perhaps the most infamous location on the Queen Mary is Stateroom B340, which has such a notorious reputation that it was closed to the public for many years. Guests staying in this room have reported a wide array of supernatural occurrences, including bed covers being yanked off, faucets turning on and off by themselves, and the sensation of being touched by unseen hands. Some guests have even fled the room in the middle of the night, too terrified to stay. Another frequent apparition aboard the Queen Mary is that of the Lady in White. This spectral figure, dressed in an elegant white evening gown, is often seen dancing in the ship's ballroom. Witnesses describe her as serene and beautiful, yet there is an air of sadness around her, as if she is searching for someone or something lost long ago. Today, the Queen Mary capitalizes on its haunted reputation by offering ghost tours and hosting paranormal investigations. These events attract ghost hunters and enthusiasts eager to experience the supernatural firsthand. Investigators often capture EVPs, photograph mysterious orbs, and even report seeing full-bodied apparitions. The ship's rich history and countless ghost stories make it a magnet for those fascinated by the paranormal. The Queen Mary's haunted legacy has been the subject of numerous documentaries, TV shows, and books. It has appeared on programs such as Ghost Hunters and Most Haunted, where investigators have documented their chilling encounters. The ship's allure lies not just in its luxury and history, but in the lingering spirits that seem to call it home. 1. The Bell Witch, a terrifying entity in Tennessee. In the early 1800s, the tranquil life of the Bell family in rural Tennessee was shattered by a series of inexplicable and terrifying events. John Bell, his wife Lucy, and their children lived on a sprawling farm when strange occurrences began to disturb their peace. It started with simple sounds, knocking on the walls and doors, and the faint whisper of voices that seemed to have no source. The family dismissed these noises at first, attributing them to natural causes. However, the disturbances grew louder and more frequent. The sounds of chains dragging and dogs barking echoed through the nights, creating an atmosphere of dread. Soon, the unseen force became more aggressive. Betsy Bell, the youngest daughter, bore the brunt of the entity's wrath. She was pinched, slapped, and had her hair pulled by an invisible hand. Her screams in the dead of night drew the family to her room, only to find no one there but Betsy, terrified and crying. The entity eventually found its voice, identifying itself as the spirit of Kate Batts, a neighbor with whom John Bell had disputes. The spirit, known as the Bell Witch, harbored a deep hatred for John Bell and vowed to kill him. Conversations with the Bell Witch revealed a cunning and malevolent intelligence. It would mimic the voices of family members and guests, spreading fear and confusion. Word of the haunting spread, attracting the attention of the local community and even General Andrew Jackson, who would later become President of the United States. Jackson visited the Bell farm, intrigued by the stories. Upon arrival, his party was besieged by the same supernatural phenomena. Jackson declared he would rather face the British Army than spend another night at the Bell farm. The Bell Witch kept its promise to torment John Bell until his death. In 1820, John Bell fell seriously ill. His health rapidly declined, and he suffered from mysterious seizures. On December 20, 1820, John Bell passed away, and his family found a strange vial of liquid nearby. The Bell Witch claimed responsibility for his death, boasting that she had given him the poison. Even after John Bell's death, the Bell Witch continued to harass Betsy. Her engagement to a local suitor, Joshua Gardner, seemed to incite the entity's rage further. The spirit's attacks became so intense that Betsy was forced to break off the engagement, hoping it would bring some peace. In 1821, the Bell Witch declared she would leave but promised to return in 7 years. True to its word, the entity returned in 1828 for a brief period, during which it continued to haunt the Bell family. After this final visit, the manifestations gradually ceased, but the legend of the Bell Witch lives on, a chilling reminder of the unknown forces that can disrupt our world.